So on this homework, again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put 3, 4 again. Sorry about that. So let me go for the odd ones on this video. So let's remember that the the vertex form equation is y equals, let me do this in black, y equals a parenthesis x minus h, this is just a reminder here, squared plus k. Let me do k in red, sorry. Now remember, the vertex is your h and your k value. You think opposite on h and you take k for what it is. So what's my vertex? Negative 2, 0. That is the most important point, the vertex. You get 1 point just for identifying it. Let's graph it. Negative 2, 0 is right here. Negative 2 on the x, 0 on the y. Step 2 on graphing is to draw your axis of symmetry. And I'm also asking for the axis symmetry equation. You get another point for stating that axis symmetry equation. What is it? X equals negative 2. Now, the next part, it says pattern. I guess it should say pattern or table. Right? You could use an XY table if you want, or you could use a pattern. But whatever you decide to use, I want to see it right here on this area. So because the A value is 1, we could use the pattern 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. So I would write it 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. Okay, so is this opening up or is it opening down according to this positive 1 as a value? Up. It's going up. So when I go 1 over, I'm going to go 1 up, and I put a dot right there. 1 over, 1 up, here I am. Go back to the vertex, go 2 over, 4 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot right there. Go back to the vertex, go 3 over, 9 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm 1 unit off the graph. You don't have to graph it. If I'm 1 unit off, I usually do graph it, but you don't have to, all right? Now let's just map everything over to the other side. Dot right there, and 1 dot out here off the graph. How do I get these dots? Again, 2 units away, 2 units away. 1, 2, 3 units away, 1, 2, 3 units away. 1 unit away, 1 unit away. We have our graph right there. Let's state the rest. Domain, x equals all real numbers. Range, y is what? Greater than or equal to or less than or equal to? Greater than or equal to what? The y value of the vertex, which happens to be 0. How about your x-intercept value? Where does this parabola cross the x-axis? It touches the x-axis at negative 2. So you could just put x-intercept is negative 2. How about the y-intercept? Where does it cross the y-axis? At 4. And that's about it, guys. You get like 2 points for the graph, another point for the vertex, another point for the axis symmetry, another point for the pattern or table, another point for the domain, another point for the range. You get a lot of points here. It's a great opportunity this Friday to bump up your grade because it's pretty easy. Let's jump to the next odd one. What's the vertex on this guy? Negative 2. Negative 3. Let's go to negative 2, negative 3, and put a dot right there. So what is my axis of symmetry that crosses right through that vertex? X equals negative 2. Make sure you put the x equals, because that will produce a vertical line. So after you have the vertex and the axis of symmetry, you need more points. You could use an XY table, or you could use the pattern 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. So normally, I think to go 1 over 1 up because it looks like I'm going up, but the truth is the A value is negative 1, which means that it's going down instead of up. It's very easy to make a mistake right there. So go 1 over 1 down and put a dot right there. Go back to the vertex, go 2 over 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot right there. And of course, if you went 3 over 9 down, you'd be off the graph, so don't even bother doing that one. Map those coordinates over to the other side. Graph your parabola, and we're done. All we have to do is state everything else. The domain, x equals all real numbers. The range, y is what? Greater than or equal to or less than or equal to? So it is less than or equal to because the parabola is opening down. And what's the y value of your vertex? Negative 3. So the range is y is less than or equal to the y value of your vertex, which is negative 3. How about the x-intercept values? Where does this cross the x-axis? The x-intercept values are non-existent. They do not exist, right? If I'm asking you for the x-intercepts, I'm asking you where does this parabola cross the x-axis? Now, if it were this kind of parabola, well then yeah, it would cross like right here and right here, but it's way down here. It does not touch or even cross the x-axis. So when I say what's the x-intercept, you could just say none. Or you could say NA, not applicable, right? Or you could just say it does not cross, whatever you want. Just make sure you don't actually give me numbers. Don't even give me the number 0, because if you put a 0 right there, you're saying that it touches right here at the x value of 0. And that's not the case. Okay? So none. It does not cross the x-axis. How about the y-intercepts? Where does it cross the y-axis? Right here at negative 7, right? So negative 7 is the y-intercept. And the last odd one, number 5. This is a great question because the a value is a fraction. So it'll be good. Let's go for the vertex just by looking at it. Negative 3, positive 4. Perfect. Let's go to the coordinate. Negative 1, 2, 3, positive 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 3, 4 is right here. Next step is to draw an axis of symmetry right through it. Might as well state that axis of symmetry equation, which is what? X equals negative 3, the x value of your vertex. How about the pattern? Well, we either use the XY table, input-output table, or we could use the pattern 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, but modifying the second numbers. So if your a value is half, if the a value is half, we're going to multiply that 1 by half, multiply that 4 by half, multiply that 9 by half. So instead of 1, 1, we're going to get 1, 1 half. We get 1 for the first part and 1 half for the second part. Instead of 2, 4, it's going to be 2, 2. Instead of 3, 9, it's going to be 3 and then half of 9, which is 4.5. So 3, 4.5. That's an example of me modifying the pattern. You did not have to do that. You could have, if you wanted to, made an XY table and simply plugged in some easy numbers that are on the same side of the axis of symmetry. So like, give me the easiest number. What's the easiest number to plug in? 0. If you do plug in 0, let's do this together in our heads. 0 plus 3 is 3. 3 squared is 9. 9 times negative half. What's half of 9? It's 4.5, but with the negative in front, it's negative 4.5. And then negative 4.5 plus 4 is negative 0.5, or negative 1 half. So the coordinate 0, negative 1 half is an actual coordinate on this graph. So if we go 0 on the x, and then negative halfway down, that will be that coordinate. Right there, halfway down. That's this coordinate that I found by doing inputs and outputs. I didn't have to do that. I could have used the pattern. Let me show you the pattern. 1, 1 half. So go 1 over and then halfway down. So you're going to put a dot halfway down. So that would be right here. Then go back to the vertex and go 2 over, 2 down. 2 over, 2 down. Put a dot right there. Then go back to the vertex and go 3 over, 4.5 down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. You see how we got that yellow dot without doing the input and the output? You could modify your pattern if you want. If you don't like modifying the pattern, then go ahead and just do an input-output table. You could use a calculator and get some coordinates. Anyway, we're going to take these 3 dots and map them over to the other side. It's going to reflect right there. It's going to reflect right here. It's going to reflect over here. Notice the y level does not change. We're at the halfway point, 1 unit away at the halfway point. Right here, 2 units away, 2 units away. Right here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But it was in between, and over here it's still in between. So that's our graph. It's a little bit more challenging because we actually had a value that's a fraction. And that's why this parabola is a little bit wider than usual. It's closer to 0. Anyway, let's go through the rest of these. The domain, x equals what? All real numbers. The range is what? Y is Less than or equal to 4, the y value of your vertex. How about the x-intercept? Where does it cross the x-axis? Negative 5 point, it's almost at negative 6, so yeah, negative 5.9 is a great one. Let's do that. Negative 5.9 is a great approximation. And how about this one over here? Negative 0.2 or negative 0.1. That's good. And how about the y-intercept? Negative 0.5 or negative half, right? Whatever you want. And you could give it to me as the coordinate 0, negative half. That's all we could state about that parabola. And that's how you get full credit and ace the quiz this Friday. I'll make another video later explaining the even ones. But your job right now is to finish this up and do the front side as well.